Why Indian subcontinent has always been important to the world. They bombarded Calicut city up to a greater extent at this point of time. So what Vasco da Gama did to him? He cut his lips and he cut his ears, and his ears were replaced by putting them in jail. And if you come back without finding the Christian ruler of the East, so then your heads would be cut. To capture almost all the ships which were passing through the Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea. अभिवादन स्वीकार कीजिए नीरज राव का कल्चर क्वांटम के इस अध्याय में. And this episode is based on advent of first European in India, that is Portuguese. India is a biodiverse country whereby we have a number of the things to offer to the world. For example, black pepper, cotton, silk, ivory and pearl cultivation. This is what has brought large number of Europeans to this land. Soon after the emergence, Christianity came to India. It is around 52 AD. St. Thomas of the Apostle, he has brought Christianity to India from Israel. And moreover, 6 churches were created in India, particularly in the southern part of the country. Not only this, but also when Islam emerged, and that too in 629 itself, one of the oldest mosques of the world was created in India, in Kerala. The name of the mosque is Chairman Juma Mosque. And this mosque is believed to be the second oldest mosque where Juma prayers are offered. What brought Europeans to India? One of the very important reasons is the spices. And the most important spice is the tiny small black pepper. The Egyptians, they used black pepper in the embalming process of their dead bodies. Basically, in the beginning, black pepper was used as a medicinal thing. But later on, it is the Roman Emperor Augustus who started to use it as a condiment. And it became one of the very important part and parcel of the food of the Middle East and Europe. So, Roman Emperor Augustus, he realized the importance of this particular small spice, and then moreover, he went on to create many pepper warehouses. Trade of this pepper was costly to the Romans because Indian traders demanded the trade of the black pepper can only happen in gold and nothing else. So, the black pepper trade never declined from India, but what declined was the Roman Empire. In the middle of 15th century, there was a rumor in Portugal and Europe that there was a Christian king in the east, and the name of this Christian king was Prester John. So Prince Henry, the navigator of the Portugal, he took lead among the Europeans to find this king of the east, Prester John, though the secondary motive was earning the profit, and he started promoting seafaring activities at that time. By 1490, there was a sailor whose name was Bartholomew Diaz, who started his journey from Portugal, and he half covered the area of the Africa, and he has reached to the Cape of Good Hope. But then he was not successful to find the Prester John and reach to India. In July 1497, it is during the regime of the King Manuel, the most celebrated Portuguese, Vasco da Gama. He started his journey from Lisbon, and finally he has also circumnavigated Africa, reached to Cape of Good Hope, and from the Cape of Good Hope he is reaching to the place called Malindi in today's Somalia. And in Somalia he got the help of one of the Gujarati pilot, Abdul Majid, and then he has taken the route to India, and finally in May 1498 he reached to the coast of Calicut, where he was given a good reception by the Zamorin rulers of the Kerala. So finally the day came when Vasco da Gama and his men were taken to the palace of the Zamorin ruler. On the way to the palace of Zamorin ruler, they stopped at a temple. They saw the priests of the temple. They were having some white color paste on their forehead and so as on their chest. So just to respect the Indian culture, what they did, that they took little bit of sand from there, and that white sand they applied on their forehead and so as on their chest. Finally the moment came when Vasco da Gama met the Zamorin ruler of Calicut. And meeting the Zamorin ruler of Calicut, he was highly elated, and he went on to say that my King Emmanuel has sent me to find the Christian ruler of the East, and if you come back without finding the Christian ruler of the East, so then your heads would be cut. The question was that what Vasco da Gama has brought for the king of the Calicut. At this point of time, Vasco da Gama finally revealed he has brought wash basins
hats, oils, and scarlet cloth. He became a laughing stock at that point of time, that who the hell in the world gifts a wash basin to the king? And then the minister said to Vasco da Gama that nothing short of gold will be sufficient. If you want to impress the king, you have to bring only gold and nothing else. Vasco da Gama returned from India in 3 months, and then once again in 1500, the Portuguese government has decided to send another sailor. His name was Pedro Alveras Cavral. And Pedro Alveras Cavral, he came with a bigger fleet of 13 ships. Moreover, the inclement weather was not in the favor of the Pedro Alveras Cavral, and he lost 7 of his ships in the stormy situation of the sea. So just like Vasco da Gama, Cavral also had to face resistance of the Arabs in Calicut, and moreover it led to the bigger fight between them and also with the Zamorans. So at this point of time, Cavral has fled to Cochin, and he has befriended the ruler of the Cochin and so as the ruler of Kannanur, who was adversary of Calicut ruler. In December 1502, Vasco da Gama returned back to India, now with a bigger fleet of 20 ships. Moreover, at this point of time, it was very clear that they are not here to find the Christian king. But this particular trip of the Vasco da Gama was totally largely commercial. At this point of time, Vasco da Gama has asked to Zamorin ruler that he must expel all the Arab traders from Calicut, and moreover only Portuguese would be allowed to do trade with Calicut. It was too much for anybody, and that's how Calicut ruler refused, which led to the very heavy fight between the Portuguese and the Zamorin ruler, so as the Arabs. They bombarded Calicut city up to a greater extent at this point of time. He has done a heavy damage to Calicut ruler. Enmity between Portuguese and Muslims was not a hidden thing. And during his second voyage, Vasco da Gama, he did a crime. And what was that crime? So that crime was basically he captured a ship named Meri, which was returning from Mecca. And there were 380 people on board on that particular ship. First, he captured 12,000 ducats. And second, he captured 10,000 worth ducats from them. And finally, what he did, that was the biggest crime. All the 380 people were burned alive. Moreover, what has happened, that there was one Calicut priest who was caught at this point of time, and he was caught in the spying activities. So what Vasco da Gama did to him? He cut his lips and he cut his ears, and his ears were replaced by dog's ear. The greater the number of the fortress you hold, the weaker will be your power. Let all our forces be at the sea, because if we should not have the forces at the sea, then all the power at once will be against us. These were the words of De Almeida, who was the first Portuguese viceroy of India, and this is what he said to Portuguese king in 1508. The acrimony between the Cochin and the Calicut ruler reached to a vantage point whereby they started fighting in 1503. Alfonso de Albuquerque helped the Cochin ruler in ensuring his victory. And after that, what happened? So Cochin ruler, impressed by this, he gave permission to the Portuguese that they can create their first fort in India. And as such, in October 1503, first European fort of India was created in Cochin, and that Cochin fort is known as Fort Manuel. Portuguese were there for 3 things, that is God, gold and glory. In 1507, the Egyptian fleet came to the help of the Gujarati ruler, and they fought with Almeida in the Battle of Chaul. This particular battle was guided by the Almeida's son, but unfortunately he was killed in this particular battle. Almeida gave a statement at this point of time that those who have eaten the cockerel, either they eat the cock or they must be ready for paying the price. And the price was paid. In the next year, in the Battle of Dew, 1509, Almeida thoroughly defeated and savaged the army of the Egyptians and the Gujarati fleet. It was the big victory of the Almeida, which led to the establishment of Portuguese power firmly in India. One of the proven tactics of the Portuguese was taking hostages, as they had the enmity with the Muslims and the Arab traders. So they were often taking Muslim traders and the Arab traders as hostages and putting them in jail. Moreover, it was not the only thing that they were doing. Often they were cutting their nose, their ears, and so as their lips, to take the vantage, to take the vengeance from them. After the capture of Goa from the Bijapuri ruler in 1510, Albuquerque went on to create the new walls for the city of the Goa. and he created the new fortification in the Goa. Moreover, he also created a hospital, a mint, and also a chapel dedicated to Saint Catherine. So, on one hand, he has conquered Strait of Malacca, and on the other hand, he has conquered Strait of Hormuz. Moreover, Albuquerque also came up with the cartage system. What was this cartage system? It was a kind of a permit fee system or the license system. So any ship which is moving from the Hormuz and going till the Malacca, they had to take the license of the Portuguese. And with this interception system, they were able to control almost all the ships which were passing through Indian Ocean and the Arabian Sea. In 1533, army of Humayun attacked on Gujarat, and at this point of time, Gujarat needed the help of anybody who can come to their rescue. Portuguese came to the rescue of Bahadur Shah. In 1534, the agreement was signed between them whereby Portuguese were given the island of the Basine, which later on went on to become the island of the Bombay. One of the interesting capture of the Portuguese was the area of the Dew, which they got it from Bahadur Shah in 1536 in lieu of supporting him against Humayun forces. But once Humayun's threat was over from Gujarat, Bahadur Shah refused that he will not be giving the area of Dew to them. But then what happened? Portuguese were so offended by it that they invited him to one of their ships, and moreover, they have taken him to the deck of the ship and they threw him into the Arabian Sea. That's what led to the death of the Bahadur Shah, and that's how Portuguese have captured Dew, which became one of their important port and commercial center after Goa. Another important reason for Portuguese to find the direct sea route to India was basically the travelogues of the Russian traveler Nikitin, who visited Bahmani kingdom, and so as the traveler Niccolo de Conti, who came from Italy and visited Vijayanagar kingdom. Both the writers, both the travelers, they have mentioned about importance of many other spices which is existing in India. Now, it became very important for Portuguese to find the direct sea route to India and dominate the Indian trade and the trade of the Indian spices. That's how they can be richer at their home and they can be in a plenty in the foreign land. Though Portuguese did not rule entire India, but they entered into every Indian household through the introduction of many of the agricultural commodities. And these agricultural commodities became a household name. It is used regularly, and these agricultural commodities are tomato, potato, papaya, groundnut, cashew nut, passion fruit, pineapple, prickly pears, guavas, and also one of the most important, that is the chilies. So the first documented use of the chilies is found from 1604, and then onwards it became household name and in fact part of the every Indian cuisine. Another very important contribution of the Portuguese was introduction of the grafting technique. Though Indians were knowing about the grafting from the ancient times, but the Portuguese grafting has provided a huge impetus to many of the vegetations and the plantations of India. For example, it is with their grafting the most exotic variety of mangoes were created, and that's what was named Alfonso.
I'm standing in front of the Basilica of Bom Jesus Church. The construction of this church started in 1594, and by 1604, the entire construction of this church was completed. There are 3 entrances in this church. One is the main entrance, which is a very big one, and there are 2 other smaller entrances on my right and left hand side. St. Francis Xavier, he was a charismatic personality, and it is believed that he converted almost 10,000 people in a month, and on daily basis he was converting more than 100 people. St. Francis Xavier died in 1552 in off-coast China, and his body was buried in Malacca, Singapore. But later on, it was brought to Goa, and it was cremated in this venerated church. Before his death, he requested to the Pope for the establishment of Inquisition in Goa. And what is Inquisition? It is a judicial procedure to stop heresy in Christianity. This is marigold, a native flower of Mexico, and it was introduced by Portuguese. And this flower is also offered to St. Francis Xavier in this church.
St. Francis Xavier was a name of respect and veneration in the world of Christianity. But there is a very strange fact related to him, that after his baptism, which happened after his death, his body was put into exposition, and in this exposition, people have taken away his toes, his shoulders, and many other body parts. It's strange and amusing and disturbing also at the same point of time. Another important church created during the Portuguese period is the Church of St. Augustine, which is in our backdrop. And this building is not in a great condition, as you yourself can witness.
When Portuguese rose in India, In 1602, this 46 meter of height church was built, and slowly, steadily, with their decline, you can see the dilapidated condition of this church in 2024, where I'm standing right now. And on my right hand side, you will see the chapel of Saint William. And right now I'm standing in front of Our Lady of Good Success. And this is a World Heritage Monument and Convents of Goa.
Some other important facts associated with the Portuguese that they established a very good relationship with the Vijayanagar ruler Krishnadeva. And from Krishnadeva they got the fort of Bhatkal in 1510. Apart from it, in the initial decades of the 17th century, Portuguese also created their establishment at Hooghly in Bengal. But then here their Catholic activities and Christian missionary activities were very high, due to which Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan did not like it, and he has ordered his governor to destroy the colonies of the Portuguese, and it led to the capture of 4,000 people who were directly converted to Christianity.
India generates one of the highest revenue by selling this product, and it was favorite among the people of Akbar's court, and in fact, it was a go-to-go product for Jahangir. But in 1617, he realized that this is injurious to the health. And what was that? Which was this product? It was tobacco, one of the most negative products introduced by Portuguese in India. And even in 2024, this is still harmful and injurious to the health. So make sure you don't consume it. You saw the Goa where Portuguese entered via direct sea route. And this is the Goa where I'm standing right now. They were the first Europeans to enter India and the last to leave India in 1961 through military actions. But in our series of Culture Quantum, they are the first Europeans, and we have more to cover in the Advent of European series. So please stay tuned to our channel Culture Quantum, and do not forget to like, share, subscribe, comment and recommend our channel Culture Quantum.